White Claw, I can't stop. Fuck around, make my 40 pop.
Alright guys, we got some brand new spoilers from chapter 56 of the Boruto manga. Now, this right here is a little bit different mainly because these spoilers actually did come from Organic Dinosaur. She does release spoilers via anime, but this time she's actually switching it up and she's actually releasing spoilers from the Boruto manga, which is completely new. It caught me off guard a little bit, but I was actually planning on making predictions to this chapter, but I mean, Organic Dinosaur was super quick, so I couldn't necessarily make that. I had to scrap that whole video and actually talk about the spoilers mainly because the spoilers seem to be absolutely insane. Now, I'm not necessarily going to go through all the aspects of the spoilers, but I will have the image on screen, so if you guys do want to kind of pause and actually click and actually read through it, you guys can actually do that. But I do want to kind of read some very important things that did actually happen in this chapter. Now, overall, this chapter seems to be 100% just complete information. It's like an information dump. They gave us a lot of things that we wanted to know. Now, one of the biggest things that we have to talk about is the fact that Naruto, Sasuke, and everybody else, they are in trouble. These spoilers basically actually told us that there are now actual cyborgs that were stronger than Jigen. Now, if you guys don't necessarily recall, Isshiki in the vessel of Jigen was extremely strong. He literally soloed Naruto and Sasuke with the Rinnegan, and of course Naruto with Kurama. That Jigen himself was absolutely insane. So now they're basically saying that there's cyborgs that are as strong as them as well. This right here takes it to a completely different level. And not only that, Code himself seems to also have been one of those type of cyborgs. Now, specifically, it says that Code was like one of the only cyborgs that were actually modified by Jigen with a limiter to basically suppress his powers, because of course without that, Code would then be stronger than Jigen. But the rest of the cyborgs that were actually stronger than Jigen ordered a model to actually get rid of them. Now, instead of actually getting rid of them, Boruto himself, one of the members of the Kage Insiders, actually took them and stored them away in one of his hideouts, it seems. The reason why Jigen didn't want Code to be dealt with, because Code had some sort of affinity and loyalty to Jigen and also the Otsutsuki clan itself. So of course that right there seems to be a very good reason why Code is still around. Now, I talked about this in yesterday's video. I had an idea that Code himself could have potentially been at this particular point stronger than individually Naruto or Sasuke. Now we have to take into consideration that Code himself is actually at full strength, stronger than both Naruto and Sasuke when they themselves were at full strength as well. Code, just him right then and there, could potentially even rival Baara on mode Naruto, which is absolutely insane. I personally don't think that's the case, but we don't necessarily know exactly how much stronger Code was than Jigen himself. Now, in these spoilers, it does say that Code actually visits an establishment that's home to Boruto's religious organization. Now, specifically, we don't necessarily know exactly what that is. For the sake of this video, I'm going to call it a hideout mail because every single time I bring it up, I don't necessarily want to say the home to Boruto's religious organization. That's just too long of a soliloquy. So of course, Boruto's hideout, let's say. So Code actually visits Boruto's hideout, and supposedly in that hideout there's actually going to be these cyborgs. So of course, Code is now trying to get access to these cyborgs that are supposedly stronger than Jigen himself. Now, of course, if he does that, of course, he'd then be able to get his revenge. We've seen in the last chapter that Code's goal as of right now is to actually get revenge for the people who actually did kill Isshiki. And of course, in regards to that, we're talking about Naruto, Sasuke, Boruto, Kawaki, and Amato. Now, if he actually does get these cyborgs that are actually stronger than Jigen, it's going to be a very difficult scene. Now, specifically, it doesn't actually tell us if he actually did get the cyborg, but just the fact that he is this close to actually getting the cyborg is actually troubling. So just to recap from these spoilers, which is absolutely insane, there are cyborgs that were actually stronger than Jigen. They were supposedly created by Amato. Now, we don't necessarily know 100% for sure because it doesn't necessarily say that, but of course, because Amato didn't build all the other cyborgs, we could possibly assume that they were actually created by Amato. Jigen told everybody to get rid of the cyborgs that were stronger than him, but instead of getting rid of them, Boruto actually stored them away. Now it seems that Code is actually trying to get access to these cyborgs to potentially get revenge for the people who actually did take away Isshiki from Code. Now, it does talk about the karma seal that Code actually does have. Code's karma seal only gives him the weaponry attributes and not as a vessel. So as of right now, I mean, from these spoilers, we could possibly assume that Code has all of the quote-unquote good things about the karma seal. It makes him strong. He potentially even has all 4 phases of the karma seal. When the karma seal lights up in 4th phase, in my opinion, is when he does actually get the horn. And what's so insane in my opinion is that Code himself, we talked about Code being one of the cyborgs that were actually stronger than Jigen 100% without the limiter that Amato put on him. He was already stronger than Jigen, but he also has a karma seal. So if Code is 100% with no limiter, stronger than Jigen, and also has a karma seal, that right there could potentially put him on the level of Baryon mode Naruto, which is absolutely insane. Now, a couple of side points that were actually outlined in these spoilers is the fact that Naruto called a 5 Kage summon, and Boruto actually wants to start training immediately to actually defeat Code. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I don't think Boruto is gonna come close to Code without the limiter. Again, there's really no confirmation that there is going to be a situation where the limiter is actually lifted from Code, but regardless, I don't think that Boruto is going to be able to come close to that Code without a limiter, without activating the Jogen, actually having some sort of semblance of the Jogen actually becoming a very prevalent part in Boruto's fighting style. So of course, until he does that, I don't necessarily see anything coming of this quote-unquote training. Of course, it is very good for Boruto to get stronger, but as of right now, I mean, it's looking very slow. I mean, these spoils right here were completely unexpected. Again, I don't necessarily look for organic dinosaur for manga spoilers, which is insane in itself, but just the contents of these spoilers. Cyborgs now are actually stronger than Jigen. Like, literal cyborgs were able to solo prime Naruto and prime Sasuke. Insane. But let me know what you guys think about these spoilers in the comment section below, and of course I'm going to give a lot more detailed breakdown of this when the chapter actually does release, and I'll probably even talk about this tomorrow in my next video. But it's me, your boy Baara B, and we out.
It's a knife.